I am Multi the Big Talk. Welcome to this new retrospective. This is part 3 of the retrospective on the Gotham TV show. No face cam today because I don't want to show my face. But that being said, I hope everyone will still enjoy this video. Today we cover Season 4, Season 5, the ending of this show. Was it good? Was it bad? I hope everyone will enjoy. Let's do this. Always hated Love Triangle, and this is the worst thing about this season, I think. That love triangle between Lee, Mario, and Jim. They make it worse because then Mario is the villain and Jim is forced into killing Mario, and then Lee is on some kind of vendetta against Jim, and I was pissed. I was rolling my eyes so much with that plot line and that whole thing. I was like, man, all in the same show we got Captain Barnes becoming crazy and Mario becoming crazy, but Mario bothers me so much, but Barnes doesn't. Barnes was a great villain. What did you think of these two side villain?
Uh, yeah, I thought they were good, but I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't think they had like as how do you say performance driven like scenes like that would like stick out in my memory. Like I thought they did a competent job as the villains. Definitely fit their roles, but they didn't do just for me personally. I didn't think they did like anything that made me go, oh yes, that now that I'll definitely rewatch. Like, I just thought they were good. That's just me personally, though. I don't know. Again, I'm not into this show, so I'm gonna be like a lot lower with things than you. Like you are more into this show, so yeah,
Yeah.
that you probably think they're really great. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, Mario, as I said, I was really bothered by it. Like, Mario and Barnes basically have almost the same storyline. They are
hmm
both intoxicated by Alice blood, so they are both very corrupt. And I think Mario missed the mark, and Barn hit the mark. And I think because we had more time with Barn, it worked better for me. And Mario as a character, he always felt like a plot device to create drama. That's why I was never into that character. And then when they made him a villain, it was even worse for me. I really cannot stand Mario. He's the worst part of the season for me.
Yeah.
But Barnes, they did it well. Barnes made sense because he was always into justice and the law cannot be bent. And now, because of that Titch virus, well, he bent the law. He actually becomes executioner, you know? And this aspect was great and well done because they they took season 2 to build this, and season 3 they added a building block. They added more to this, and this was also to set up Bullock as the next captain, and I liked that a lot. It felt amazing to see Bullock in charge. I'm a huge Bullock fan, you know. He is probably my favorite character in the show. What did you think of Bullock becoming in charge?
Yeah, I like that a lot more, personally. Did you?
Yeah, man, he was at the right place when he was in charge, man.
Yeah, that was good there. That was good timing.
Um, now,
Um, I didn't mind it. What about you?
I liked the Court of All, but I got another issue I almost forgot to mention. Bruce telling the Court of All, yeah, I investigate all of you. Big brain, big brain.
Yeah, that is just yeah. Yeah,
uh,
I
yeah.
don't know, but I will say though, like near the end of it all, and I didn't watch the last episode, but I did try to watch like a small recap of the last episode though before we got onto the stream. Like, I mean, what did you think about killing Alfred?
Uh, we all knew he would come back to life because it's Gotham.
Uh huh.
It was sad, I will admit, because it's more like what it meant for Bruce than what is really going on, because we all know Alfred will come back, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's it's no surprise he will come back. So it's I have mixed feeling.
Probably.
I have mixed feeling because, as I said, nobody dies in Gotham, and it's more like what it was for Bruce to basically kill Alfred. That was the big thing, I think. And uh yeah, that season had a lot of good and also a lot of bad, and this is interesting how they also brought back Falcone, Hermine Falcone, and Zaz, the best serial killer the show had.
Yeah. I mean, after watching the Batmans, though, again, this is.
So here it will be the first time in retrospective we take a look to average viewer in million. I think in future video, if I can find the data, I will share it as well. So average viewer in million. Season 1 7.56, Season 2 5.37, Season 3 4.52, Season 4 3.69, Season 5 3.68. So I will say this, most shows, they lose viewership each season, and it's normal. But the drop between season 1 and 2 is quite big. And I can see why. Season 1 wasn't impressive, and then we got a somewhat normal drop between 2 and 3. And we got another somewhat normal drop between 4 and between 3 and 4. And it's interesting how 4 and 5 kept the same kind of viewership. And that's funny because that goes back to what I am saying. Season 4 and 5 were equals. They were the best season of the show, but the start was really rough, so a lot of people just dropped on the show. So here we are. Better to ring in L. That's the viewership for the season premiere of season 3. 3.90 million, followed by a 3.54 million. So now let's take a look to the penultimate and the season finale, and then we can dive deep into season 4 and season 5 viewerships. Destiny Calling, 3.17 million. Ivy, Dirty Soul, 3.03 million. So they lost almost a full million throughout that season. And it's such a shame, and it's very sad because that season is when the show, for me at least, started to get somewhat good. Because season 1 was mediocre, season 2 had a great start and a terrible ending, and season 3 was somewhat good from start to finish. Pax Penguina, one of the worst episodes the show ever aired in my own opinion. As a 3.21 million. The Fear Reaper, 2.87 million. This one was a very good episode, but I guess people dropped the ball because they were like, yeah, episode 1 was terrible, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that thought the idea of the license to do crimes was ridiculous. Anyway, let's move on now. Penultimate episode, Queen Takes Night, 2.53 billion. After the break, Pieces of a Broken Mirror. A very sad case where it should be a better episode because the Bruce storyline was great. 2.57 million. Interesting. It's very sad to see one of the best seasons of the show having such a low viewership by the end of that fourth season. So, Penultimate 2.21 million, No Man's Land 2.20 million. And here's the thing. I think they took a look to season 4 and they realized the viewership wasn't as good as when the show first started, so it had cost too much money for them. And because of that, they decided to cancel it, making season 5 what we got. And season 5 could have been one of the best thing on TV to ever exist when we speak about comic book TV shows. But because of that network deciding to cut the loss as they think they were doing, we ended up with a average 5th season. And it's really, really sad. Season 5 starts off with 2.54 million, followed by Trespasser, 2.38 million. So they were able to maintain a 2-ish million, which is very interesting. And the most surprising thing is when that season started. They started in January, their last season. And usually this was a fall premiere. So past season had their first half in fall, and then the second half in the winter. But here they started from the get-go with the winter. And ruined one of the best episodes of the entire show is right there with 2.35 million. A very sad case because here again that was a very great episode people just missed. This season, no really penultimate episode, I think. Maybe we could consider Bane being a somewhat mid-season thing because they took a 2-week break, but regardless. They did what? 2.02 million. The beginning, 2.19 million. So, yeah. Overall, the viewership was really low. It's very sad to see and say. Nissa Al Ghul was a terrible villain. I will be honest here. Season 5 had one of the worst villains in the entire show, and when we look back, Arrow did Nissa better. And even Talia, that was kind of the Nissa in this thing, was much better. Talia was amazing. So how can they mess that one up? I don't understand. Season 4. So far, it was the best season we got. However, I will be as honest as usual and as any other reviews I previously did over this channel. This season, the writer wanted me to suspend disbelief too much. This is the biggest sin of this season. This is the biggest flaw of this season. Because guess what? This season was really good. If you forget about the first episode. The first episode was a disaster. What if they legalized crime? Suspend your disbelief. It's Gotham. People die and come back to life. Look, I can suspend disbelief. But sometimes, just sometimes, you take it too far. This is what I think is taking it too far. Because guess what? Each time they brought these license to do crimes, I was rolling my eyes. But guess what? This was only in the early stage of this season. So this season overall is still very good. Some episodes sometimes do have flaws. Sometimes there are a few moments where there are plot convenience, right people, right moment, right place. But this is something we can speak about in many movies and shows. So even if it's a flaw in itself, it's a common flaw. Sophia Falcone felt kind of boring. I will be honest. She was manipulating everyone in the shadows, and I do think she could have been much more interesting if she wasn't a villain and if she didn't uh, add bad intention in what she was doing. What if she was a good person? I do think her character would be more interesting, but she's just a usual liar. She always lies. She manipulate people. She pit people against each other, and she enjoyed doing it. And she's just a villain. She's not the worst part or the best part of this season. She is more of a plot device that brings other plot device around. She's the plot device to send Penguin in jail. She's the plot device to basically uh, bring back the past, like how Jim killed her brother. We get it. It was last season. How can someone forget? Now, I will say this with this season. We have to feel that Bruce Wayne is slowly becoming Batman. Hell yeah, I do like that aspect of this season. And then another issue comes up. An issue I already had before with previous seasons. People just don't die. No, no, no. Plot armor on 2000 on everyone. And if you dare to kill someone, that someone will be back. And that someone will revive, resurrect, call it the way you want. It's Gotham. Suspend your disbelief. Oh yeah, Sophia got a bullet in the brain and the head. And guess what? She's in a coma. Now, I do understand in real life that kind of things can happen. The scroll, the head is really hard to break. So sometimes you will survive a bullet in the head. Sometimes. I said it sometimes. Now, in this show, it feels like they placed her in a coma only to bring her back later on. But guess what? The show was cancelled, so she's not coming back. But anyway, the idea was there. She get a bullet in the brain, and guess what? They don't tell she died. She's in a coma. Are you kidding me? For real? Grow some balls, kill off people. And this is funny because at some point Bullock could have died. But because it's Gotham, we all knew there's no way they will kill him off. You know the pressure at the end when he was about to disable disarm a bomb and there were two wire, one triggered the bomb and the other one deactivate the bomb. But there was no true tension. That was a scene for comic relief. Because we all knew there's no way they will kill a Bullock. And even if they did, what if they bring him back to life after that in the other season? It's Gotham. They legalize crime. People receive bullet in the brain. They don't die. Right now, I seem like someone that was very negative with this season, but that's only because these details I latch on and I discuss about right now are the detail why this show is not the best show around. Why? Even if that season was amazing, I cannot call it a masterpiece. And it's really, really sad because I really wanted to praise the show and tell everyone that show is amazing. I know it has flaws. It's not a bad show. I consider this show as being really good overall. Based on my most recent watch, it's not the worst thing I've seen. See, the first season is mediocre at best. The second season is average. The third season was really good. And this fourth season was great. It was amazing as a season. But this is no masterpiece, and based on what I remember from the show, this was the best season the show had. So when the peak of your show is not a masterpiece, it's really sad. Especially when you have these great characters, but that weak storyline filled of plot hole or filled filled of like convenience. How convenient this is. How this new military guy now in charge because Gotham has fallen under Jeremiah and control, or call it the way you want. That general is a cliche. He's just a plot device to stop Jim Gordon from doing what he wants to do. He is a one-dimensional character, and they like, I feel like they want this to feel grounded and realistic, but then a few weeks before we had someone in a ice cube, Riddler, Ed. He was turned into a ice cube. It was frozen. And guess what? Someone just defreeze it and you're still alive in it. It's like, suspend your disbelief. It's Gotham. People come back to life every week. They broke the fourth wall, saying that in season 3. It's Gotham. It's normal. Now, I do think the first half of this season, with the whole politic aspect of the story, where Sophia tried to beat Penguin and to get control over the underworld, over the world of criminals and stuff, that was good. With Pig killing cops just to keep them occupied, that was good. Then we had something in the middle with Sophia being like the main focus until she gets shot. That was the weakest part. And then we had the Jerome part and the other maniac and the crazies when they break out of prison. I like that a lot. That was great. That was Gotham at its peak. If the entire season was like that, I would be like, it's a masterpiece. Because it was really hard for me, like from episode 16 to episode like 22. It was really hard for me to pinpoint issues I had with this season. It was really hard. A lot of episodes in that bunch are 10 out of 10. A few are 9, others are 9.5, but most of them have high notes in that back half. And this is funny because I don't like the fact that they kill and bring back people. I was kind of pissed in season 3 when they brought back Jerome. However, with this season, they used Jerome well. So I forgive them from just picking a dead guy and bring him back to the show because plot wants him around. I liked that aspect a lot because Jerome was able to match Bruce with his future Joker, Jeremiah, his brother, Jerome's brother, another crazy one. And guess what? This was great. It gave some Smallville vibe. I say that because Bruce is best friend with his future worst enemy. And he slowly sees him turning into a monster. And that was great. But here again, I will be honest. It felt a bit rushed. They really wanted to finish season 4 with Jeremiah being the big bad. So, I think what should have happened that season? You wrap up Sophia stuff. You need 11 episodes to wrap up Pig, Sophia, Penguin. Telling you, that's all you need because that first half felt not really filler, but it felt dragged on. Even if it was good, I feel like you cut some scene, you cut some stuff, and that first half could be much better, and we could get the Jeremiah being born faster and earlier in the show. But here's the thing. I think I know why we only got Jerome and Jeremiah by the end of the season. It's probably a right issue. I didn't really dig deep into it. I've just seen a lot of Gotham video back in the day, and even as today, some people speak about it. And based on what I've seen and heard in many places, it was really hard for Fox to get the right to have characters like Jerome, because he was basically Joker. But they were not authorized to say it's the Joker, so that's why they called him Jerome. And that's also why Jerome is just there for a small amount of episode. Like Warner Bros. Or whoever had the right for Batman and its Rogue Gallery, they need to say, yes, Fox, you can use these characters. Yes, Fox, you can use these characters for like 4 or 5 episodes. So this is why we get Jerome and Jeremiah this late, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's really the right plan. But yeah, I think my favorite part in the center, in the middle, is with Bruce. He had the best story in the middle center. After killing Ra's al Ghul, it's Gotham. Ra's al Ghul will be back at the end of the season, only to get killed again. It's Gotham. Bruce killed Ra's al Ghul to protect his friends and family. And because of that, he is on a very dark place. He hits rock bottom. I was a huge fan of this part because it's the best Bruce season. He is broken. He is sad. It's dark. You feel sorry for the kid. And the music around was great. Him pushing away everyone that really matter and being surrounded by fake friends that are just there because he's a cool kid with money that will buy anything they want or that will drive a cool car. That was great. But then I need to criticize something else about that storyline I enjoyed a lot. Remember in season 2 when Alfred destroyed Bruce's parents' computer, so he's not getting involved into Cordoval stuff and the murder of his parents stuff. Remember that? Well, I remember Alfred, after getting fired, he picked all of his boxes and he was about to leave. He was about to take a train and disappear from Gotham. But this season, because it's other writers and because they still want Alfred around, they changed something without really explaining what they changed. Like, They really try really hard to tell you cannot really leave Gotham because he latched on that pass and on Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. I understand that aspect, but here's the thing. They forgot that Alfred, if he's not employed by Bruce, he will pack up his things and leave. Nothing forced him into staying in Gotham. But in this season, because they want Alfred to remain in the show and to come back in Bruce's life later on, they tell you, yeah, he will find an apartment. Okay. Whatever. That's an issue for me because this contradicts past season, and I'm pretty sure it's not the same writer that had this idea in season 4 than the writer that said, yeah, you will go on the train and leave. It's not the same. So, yeah, this season, a few issues, but as I said, I enjoyed a lot. Tetch being back! Tetch was a really cool character. I liked him a lot. And Bullock, as usual, Bullock losing his captain position was sad. Bruce wasn't the only one at his lowest this season. Bullock was another character. He basically quit being a police guy and he is broken and it's so sad. And at the end of the season he realized he blamed Jim while he was the one doing what he did. When he's the one that chose wrong. And this is amazing. And here again, we have Bullock at his best, in my own opinion. Because despite that, he tried to remain a good friend for Jim. Now, I will be honest, in the early stage of the season, I enjoyed Barbara, Selena, and Tabitha. But by the end, when they're in charge of a wannabe League of Shadows, I was like, some of the dialogue there is. It's not great. It's not great. Let's be honest, it's not great. Yeah, I know these are the Sirens, and they want an all-female army, but not the biggest fan of that. But hey, that's just me thinking dialogue feels weird sometimes. So I do think this season stands out. Seeing Jim in charge of the GCPD was great. Seeing the GCPD standing side by side with Jim was great. It felt great. This season was a blast. Lee's storyline was also really good. I liked Lee as a character this season. She was great. And she did brought something new. And she felt like someone new. And thumbs up for that. Good job, Lee and Ed. Even if I feel like Ed should have died in the Ice Cube, Ed had good material. Hell yeah. I like this season a lot. I think I will give this season a 9 out of 10. If I didn't need that often to suspend disbelief, trust me, I would give a higher grade because I do think the last 6-ish episodes were amazing, great, masterpiece level. But then you got the rest of the season with a mixed bag of great stuff and less great stuff. That season was a blast. I cannot wait to rewatch season 5 tonight and Sunday because the video will be out by Monday or Tuesday. I hope I can get it out by Monday. Anyway, let's move on with the video now with rating or comments. I don't know yet. I will edit everything. We will see.
Has all the same issues as any editor this whole show, but season 4 I would say is probably best out of the 5 seasons I've seen and has the least flaws, I would say, in my opinion. There was still a lot of stupid police stuff, but that's in all of them. I mean the scenes and stuff of like, him becoming more of like a masked vigilante, which was kind of basically the main story of the season, was pretty cool. I'm trying to make like a difference, but then it escalates and he's kind of forced to kill Ra's al Ghul. It goes down like that jerk path from season 4. It was I think that was pretty interesting, and then but then he goes back there and help and becomes more of that role again. It's like now I will say the second time Ra's al Ghul dies, it wasn't really effective. It was shocking. I didn't expect them to kill him off again, but with them bringing back so many fucking characters to life, it's like it removes any or when somebody dies. And if it wasn't for that, it would have been a lot better, that scene where he dies the second time, because it was
Yeah.
so unexpected and it was actually kind of well done. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like the scenes of Selena struggling to find her place in Gotham and realizing, the sirens suck, and helping out Bruce later, and then the mirrors to kind of the Batman and Catwoman relationship early on. I like Jim Gordon getting the more into the leadership role and the promotion, and slowly becoming a commissioner as the leader of the GCPD. That whole and Blur's things in the middle of the season was all right. Had the Barbara versus League of Assassins thing, and her making her own version of it, I didn't really care for, but that's just me. The Butch and Solomon scenes and connected to Riddler was and getting his memory back and being more connected with Penguin later on was entertaining, I'll say at least. And then all the Joker stuff with Jerome wreaking havoc, which led to his death, and the creation of the real Joker. I mean, that was all right, I would say. So then the military police coming on and ordering the cops around, trying to stop the bombs around the city, and getting Bruce to talk to him with Jeremiah. That scene there was probably my favorite scene of the season, and one of my favorite scenes of the whole show, because the scene there with like Bruce Wayne and Jeremiah talking and like interrogating him was like, it gave heavy Batman and Joker vibes from the games and movies, which I've seen before, and their relationship starting to unfold. So that
Yeah.
was pretty interesting for me. And also the Ra's al Ghul, like his goal of like wanting to destroy the city with Jeremiah just so he becomes Batman, was that was also interesting. And
Yeah.
also seeing all those characters kind of team up for a little bit that you wouldn't expect team up. But yeah, there's still a lot of issues, but overall, there's some stuff I like there in the storylines. Now that we're leading more and more to the finish, and we got a lot of the filler and build up out of the way. I'm more interested in some of the stuff going on. So overall, I did like this season the most out of all of them. So, and that's pretty much all I have to say really about that. For now at least. What do you think though? Probably like a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 for season 4. Interesting. I would,
Which is good for my rating system.
yeah, I would give that season 4 a 9 out of 10 because I really liked it a lot. And what really stopped that season from being any higher for me was really that middle part where Sophia is the big bad because Sophia wants revenge. I really didn't like that aspect of that season. But outside of that, I think it was a really interesting season. and I liked how Jeremiah and Bruce basically became friends, and then Jeremiah became the Joker, basically. Even if they could not say it for right issues, this is what he became. Yeah, season 5. What has he thought of season
God.
5?
Oh, well, honestly, I thought this was there was a lot of this season there were a lot of ideas they did that I liked the idea of. Especially, again, it kind of was in season 4, but also in season 5. But again, Gotham being just cut off from the rest of the world and taking the back the city was a lot that has been done many times before. But I do think they did an all right job in it in this show this time around. And going on that quest, they did earlier with the character was a cool part of it. With finally seeing him become more Batman with the skills he learned after all the build up over the years and returning to Gotham later on. Like there was a lot of like payoff after all the times we've watched it, and a lot of good ideas. But in my opinion, the execution in this season, I thought was really sloppy and cheesy, and this is probably I think season 2 was honestly the worst just because of this whole second part of it, but season 5 here, because of the execution, I just thought it's honestly the second worst season. Again, a lot of good ideas I like and a lot of good payoff, but it's just really and a lot of too over the top moments as well, especially when it comes on like I said before, like the outfits in this and stuff, and the character designs I liked prior besides Clayface, but the ones in like the finale, honestly, like that was so and whatnot, that was so. Especially Penguin's outfit, it was just way too over the top in my opinion, and just kind of cheap looking. Like again, I like some things they did, like Jim Gordon saying he'll retire, once Wayne Tower reopens, and then sticking around, that was cool. And it does like give us some like having that set up there, and then watching how he is in like the some other stories after that. It's like it gives some good cues there, and watching Jeremiah in his vegetated state 10 years for that long, and then getting wheeled away by kind of like I guess a Harley Quinn 1.0, and then getting shot, not the real one, I guess, like him, was a cool Easter egg, I guessed, and I
Uh,
like the idea they did in the start with the older actress who plays Selena Kyle, but I thought with the crime or whatnot, but I thought the set design was honestly so cheap and
yeah.
everything. I just thought that was and then the last shot of Batman over the fucking city in the finale was it was like a mix of Batman and Robin and Batman Returns. It was like the suit was just I did not like that at all. And also I guess they digitally made the same kid actor older instead of just getting a different actor for that small bit like they did for Selena Kyle in that finale, which is so confusing, but it looks so ugly, and it's just in the city, the shots of the city, in that it's like I was like I was watching an episode from the 1980s Tim Burton again because it looked that outdated.
No, I will say this.
And that isn't the trash. The shot
To to
not
the
that
to the show defense,
one.
they didn't add the right for
The Tim
most
Burton
of.
one, I love it, but it just shows like it. This,
You got enough for some reason.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry for. I think my thing just disconnected.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, did you? How much of it did you hear? Until what point?
You started speaking about the actor playing Selena in the last episode, and they should have done the same thing with Bruce.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 So my thing disconnected there, I guess, on Discord for some reason. But yeah, so I'm saying I don't know why I didn't do that. That was cheap looking. But yeah, and then the outdated thing where it just made it look like fucking the 80s Batman, with the framing and everything and the shots. It's just, again, not the trash on the 80s Batman films from Tim Burton and such, because I like them a lot, but but the way they shot it and framed it and everything in the city, it looked like that outdated. Just overall, it just looked way too cheap and over the top, and the writing and everything. Yeah, it's mostly to talk about the finale, but again, the finale is the main thing people speak about. So yeah,
Yeah.
but overall, though, the season was just it was again, good ideas with the last season, but overall, I thought the execution was just sloppy is the best way to say it. This is probably my second least favorite season out of the whole show. Now, I'm gonna say the ratings of them, later at the end. But if I had to rank them right now, just without giving the ratings, it would probably go from best to worst. 4, 1, 3, 5, and 2, and 2 just because of the whole second half. That was just the whole fucking half of the season. That was just terrible. But uh, so yeah, what did you think though?
So before I go further with what I think, I will defend the show just a little bit because they didn't add that much right on pretty much every character. That's why we didn't have proper Joker. That's why he wasn't able to name himself the Joker, and that's why we had very limited episode with the wannabe Joker. And I don't think they had the right to use Batman even in their last episode. So that's why we didn't get like a full blown new actor to play uh, whatever that CG costume was on the rooftop. So it's yes, it could have been done better, but there was a lot of things going against the people making the show because they were limited on which character they could use and how long and how much they could use the character. And I think this also goes back to Echo, because you said Harley Quinn. It wasn't Harley Quinn. It was Echo, and there's
Yeah,
Echo right now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I said it's basically like a 1.0 version of it because I know it wasn't Harley Quinn because she got shot at
Yeah,
least. But yeah, there was nothing that really intrigued me too much. I will say though, again, besides the last episode, I did like the kind of tone and atmosphere and everything of the Gotham City. I did like that. All that they did a good job there. That was intriguing, but yeah, outside of that, I don't know.
yeah.
So yeah,
Um,
that's all. That's all. But
it wasn't the worst show ever made. We will say that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to the award show after
I
this,
think
so
She-Hulk
yeah,
is
at the
still
end.
worse than
So,
Titans. She-Hulk is still worse than Titans.
it is. It is. I mean, I would give She-Hulk an easy 1 or 2 out of 10. So yeah, but
Season 5. We got a mixed bag. Okay, I will be honest here, it was the most consistent season. It was good from start to finish. But I mentioned mixed bag. Here's what I think about it. They did a lot of things good and a lot of things bad. The show is bleeding from most of the issues in past season. Plot device character, plot convenience, that kind of stuff. The writing on Gotham wasn't on point all the time. The pacing of that season was kind of bad. To defend this show, it was cancelled when they thought they had the 22 episode season like past seasons. They got cut off to 12. So they needed to rush through things. And it's kind of sad. And they wanted to tell two storylines, one about a broken Gotham and one about military taking over the city. It's really, really sad. And we got 11 episodes, and I feel like we could have gotten a better 11 bunch, you know? Like, episode 12 wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. It was the end of the show, and it's really sad that the network just canceled it. I can understand because, based on what I've heard, the viewership wasn't that great. We will go over viewership later on. But I think season 5 had a lot of good ideas, and it felt like a Batman TV show, just like season 4. So I really like that approach. Jim and Bruce relationship, Bruce and Selena Kyle relationship, everything was really good when we speak about the character. The weak point of that season is the story and the pacing. There's much more action in this season, and I like that aspect of it. And yeah, like, I think another major complaint I have with this season is how they turned Hugo Strange into just that mediocre plot device. He used to be a good character in season 2. In season 3, he was reduced to a plot device. And now in season 5, it's even worse. He doesn't feel like a character anymore. He's just like that MacGuffin that will create plot thread and stuff. So season 5 was still very good overall. Now I won't go as detailed as usual. I will be honest here. I've seen season 5 a few weeks ago, like 1 week, 2 weeks ago. And I also got through Titans at the same time. So my memory is not really good, and I don't remember perfectly how I felt about that season. I like Bullock a lot, but Bullock was a good thing throughout the entire show. So it's really hard for me to like have a longer discussion about that season. It's just the average Gotham season. I do think season 5 was much better than the first two, and it was also a bit better than 3, but I do think it was equal to the 4th season. Now, if you go ask to Cole Turner, the co-host of my Red Blue podcast, he will tell you, yeah, I didn't like season 5, and 4 was the best. 4 was clearly a good season, and season 5 feels like a letdown. Even if it was consistent, and I cannot pinpoint a point where I was like, the show went bad. It wasn't amazing. That's the sad thing about it. It was just Gotham being Gotham. With that being said, season 5 gets a 9 out of 10, just like season 4. And I cannot tell if I liked more season 4 or 5, because season 4 had some amazing material in it, but season 5 was consistent and season 4 was not. Season 4 clearly had a few low points and a few episodes I'm like, that's hot garbage. With that being said, let's move on to viewership. Usually I don't do that, but let's take a look. So average tomato meter 77 for the entire Gotham TV show. Average audience score 67. Very interesting. Let's move on. Here we are with season 4 with a somewhat decent 68% overall and a 77% for the critics. So I guess it wasn't woken up for them. Let's keep going. This first 5 stars reflects my favorite part of this season. So let's read this one out. Season very marked on the psychological aspect of the character that acts a bit as a closure of the personal growth path of the ladder to lay foundation of the future as a season. It entertains a lot and tries to definitively explain several unresolved aspects. When they speak about psychological aspects, I think he's thinking mainly about Bruce as a character because he got uh, lots of story there. It was the best part of season 4. So Bruce basically is forced into killing Ra's al Ghul, and killing someone destroyed him, and the back half was just him trying to fix himself and heal, and what teenagers do when they try to heal, they get drunk, they do stupid stuff, and Selena see through that crap, making Selena character one of the best character of this show. Um, so yeah, season 4 had a lot of good in it. And I will always remember that season as being the one where Bruce had something that was meaningful to his character. So this one is very interesting. He says, not exactly a suitable follow-up to an amazing third season, but the introduction of new villain is always a blast to see, and some character stories are always nice to see for the heroes to develop themselves further. I'm wondering what that person didn't like about season 4. Maybe he's one of Jerome big fan and he's like, we didn't get enough Jerome, but then they forget that the network didn't have the right for Joker, so they could not even call him the Joker. And on top of that, they were limited into using that character only a certain number of episodes there. And they did amazing with Jerome and Jeremiah and all that good stuff, so I disagree with not a suitable follow-up. And season 3 was good, but I don't think it was amazing. Another 5 stars. There's a lot of 5 stars. I really love this show. I started it as a background show, but soon became engrossed in everything. They all commit to their role. There is a freshness and nuance to the characters and their interaction. I agree. It's operatic in many ways. I highly recommend this show to anyone who likes superhero, Batman, soap operas, or crime over the top crime shows. If Game of Thrones was in Batman universe and took itself less seriously, the season also has a spectacular last episode. It was beautiful, great actors. I agree with everything. Next up, Gotham is my favorite of all time. I can see why. 4 stars. I wish we had more coverage of the GCPD, but what we have is still a lot of fun. Well, I think we had enough, to be honest. Season 1 was a lot about the GCPD. Season 2 as well. Season 3 was a mixed bag GCPD and the villains. So I think we had enough GCPD stuff throughout the entire show, I think. Oh my, this season took a huge hit on the audience. 57% audience, 85 critics. So I guess they were like, oh, it's more woke, so let's make it better. No, I'm just joking. Gotham wasn't woke. Maybe some people will think it was because of the siren and stuff, but I don't think it was. But critics see woke stuff everywhere. That's why they like stuff that is woke and they hate stuff that is not woke. Here we are with the last season. Season with a very interesting premise. Too bad it is one of the few interesting thing, too short and hasty. Does not give anything new and does not really develop many stories. Really disappointed as a last season. Everything could have been developed much better if it wasn't cancelled. Mark this one down. It was cancelled. That's why it wasn't that great. Next one. 3 stars. Really wish it could have been longer because it feels like it ended abruptly since rating were still pretty low. Good explanation. But still entertaining. for what we got and add a fitting finale episode to conclude the series on a strong note. Uh, Strong note? I don't know, to be honest. I really don't know. 1 star. I'm not a fan of DC or the series and the movie. The worst thing is that the series should be Gotham, which I don't like. For example, kill children, ruin childhood and life. Character die gives little comedy. In the end, the Joker kills. Harvey was not a villain. And ready, my worst DC series. Okay. Okay. So if you're not a fan of DC series, why are you watching DC series? Just asking, man. Anyway, next comment. Needed more Batman moment, unfortunately. So that one gave a 4.5 stars out of 5. So it's basically 90% like me. 4 stars and a novel. I'm curious to read more. Gotham is a cursed land where corruption has devoured every sector that the series tells, not only superficially, but also condition the birth of the villain. The main theme of the story, it's about fighting with influential groups and investigating in various cases. But as the season progresses, through season 2 onward, we will find characters with more quirky abilities, more comics. I like about the plot of this story is that not bringing back Batman and focusing on the main character Batman. The audience will get nothing unless they know more about the story of Batman's childhood. But this series intentionally focuses on the other character more. That's what makes the series so different and interesting. I agree. Talking about the atmosphere of the city, it felt that Gotham City in this series, it's gloomier and it feels like a hopeless city than a Christopher Nolan The Dark Knight trilogy. I like this comment a lot because it understands the show pretty well. Next one. There were a lot of crime gangs of influential people filled the city. Whatever you did, you had to be afraid of tripping over someone's feet. So many influence that even the police department can't do anything to these groups. And they are the psychopaths who are ready to commit murder at any time again. Can be called the city of filth. Each of the characters are interesting. Although most of the chapter focus on James Gordon as the main character of the story, but the other characters have some role as well. The characters that appear are all familiar. The Joker, Mr. Riddler, Penguin, and many more. Have you ever wondered who the Penguin is, where he came from, and why he is the enemy of Batman? In the movie, is he really the bad guy? Catwoman, the image we follow from the cartoon or movie, she always has a pretty sexy image. Who is she? Why did she become Catwoman? I appreciate all of the series team. They can find very good actor. The role and character match with the actor. The component makes your imaginary city come true. This series will make you fall in love with Batman even more. It's more fun to watch in Batman next movie. It has insight into life, love, and a good perspective on Gotham society. The Batman disciple will completely be satisfied. Especially the familiar character presented in a way they've never seen before. Overall, I give 4 stars because there are still some plot hole in the story. I won't mention it because it would be a spoiler. I agree. Complete series review. Okay, I'm not as much into DC Universe stuff as Marvel, but it was entertaining enough. It was reasonably well told. and add decent production value and acting talent. I agree. Great conclusion to the series. The performance from few actor was hot and or miss, or hit and miss. So I think most people agree on most things. This was a very interesting show to rewatch with Cole as a guest in my podcast, or I should say co-host. So, what were your thoughts on this show in my video? Closing thoughts on the Gotham TV show. So here we are. This is the end of the journey, the end of that adventure with the GCPD, Bruce Wayne. This is the end of that prequel. Um, Overall, I think the show is around 8 out of 10 because the first two seasons were bad. Season 3 was good. Season 4 was great. Season 5 was also great. So I do think every season got better, except for maybe 4 and 5, because 4 and 5 are equals. 4 is clearly better than 1, 2, 3, but it's equal to 5. So overall, I think the show was bleeding of the same issues. The writing wasn't that great. Plot device characters, plot convenience, tropes, poorly executed good ideas. It's very sad because Gotham could have been that amazing TV show everyone wants to talk about. That great TV show everyone remember being great. But even if you dig deeper and find videos, you will see that people were really divided with this show. And most people tell the same thing. It's really sad. So, Gotham TV show had a lot of hit and miss episode. And yeah. So, coming next to my channel, in 2023, we will cover Supergirl and The Flash. But here's the thing. 2022 come to a close, and I don't think I will have enough time in 2022 to bring you another retrospective. So you can still subscribe to the channel and look forward for my Red Blue podcast, because my Red Blue podcast cover comic book TV shows. So that's the thing. But that being said, I hope everyone enjoyed that retrospective. As I said, the next one will be Supergirl, probably. And after that, probably The Flash will air its last season. And once the season is over, I will cover the retrospective of The Flash. So after Supergirl, either it will be The Flash or another comic book TV show like maybe Legion, Titans, one Marvel, one DC. Anyway, that's it for this video. Do all the YouTube stuff and take care of yourself. See you next time.